The last photograph before everything went digital. There is a photograph sitting in a shoebox somewhere, forgotten, that may be the last one ever taken on film in that family. Nobody knew it at the time. Nobody marked the date or circled it in red. It was simply the final click of a shutter before everything quietly changed forever. Before digital cameras, before smartphones, taking a photograph meant something different. You couldn't see the picture right away. You couldn't delete it and try again. Every single photo cost something, so every photo mattered. Families would gather for a birthday, a holiday, or just an ordinary Sunday afternoon, and someone would finally say, "Let's get a picture." Everyone stopped what they were doing. Hair got smoothed down. Shirts got tucked in. Children were told to stand still, just for a moment. The camera itself felt like an event. Heavy, mechanical, deliberate. You had to wind the film, check the light, and hope everyone's eyes were open at exactly the right second. There was no second chance in the moment. You simply pressed the button and trusted it. Then came the hardest part. Waiting. Rolls of film sat inside the camera for weeks, sometimes months, holding memories that hadn't been seen yet. A birthday party in March might not be developed until summer. A Christmas morning might wait until spring to finally appear in your hands. When the roll was finally full, someone dropped it off at the drugstore, and the wait began again. Days passed. Sometimes almost a week. There was no rushing it. You simply lived your life and let the photographs develop in their own time. Picking up the envelope of prints felt like receiving a small gift. Opening it in the car, in the parking lot, unable to wait until you got home. Flipping through each photo slowly. Some blurry. Some too dark. And then, suddenly, one perfect shot that captured a smile exactly the way you remembered it. Those photographs went into albums. Real albums, with plastic sleeves and thick pages that stuck slightly together. Grandparents kept them on coffee tables. Parents pulled them out during holidays, flipping through decades of birthdays, vacations, and ordinary Tuesday afternoons that somehow became history. Nobody thought of these photos as content. Nobody imagined strangers scrolling past them in seconds. They were private. Personal. Meant only for the people who loved you enough to sit beside you on the couch and look through them together. Then, slowly, the world began to shift. Digital cameras appeared, promising instant results. No more waiting. No more wasted film. You could see the photo immediately, delete it if you blinked, and take 100 more without a second thought. At first, it felt like magic. Nobody realized what was quietly disappearing. The patience of waiting for film to develop. The thrill of not knowing exactly how a photo turned out. The discipline of choosing your shot carefully because you only had 24 chances on a roll. Somewhere in that transition, in nearly every family, there is one photograph that was the very last one taken the old way. Nobody photographed the moment it happened. Nobody knew that roll would be the final one ever developed at the drugstore counter. Maybe it was a birthday candle being blown out. Maybe it was a grandparent laughing at something just out of frame. Maybe it was simply a quiet afternoon that nobody thought to mark as significant. That photograph exists somewhere still. Slightly faded. Corners worn soft from handling. Tucked into an album or a shoebox in a closet, waiting to be found again. Today, we take more photographs in a single day than an entire family once took in a year. Phones hold thousands of images we may never look at twice. Storage is endless. Deleting is instant. And somewhere in all that abundance, something has quietly changed. We rarely wait for anything anymore. We rarely wonder how a photo will turn out. We rarely gather everyone together and say, "This is the one that matters, let's make sure we get it right." That doesn't mean today's photographs matter less. They capture beautiful things too, instantly, effortlessly, more often than ever before. But there was something about the limitation of film that made every single photograph feel intentional. Every photo was a decision, not just a reflex. If you ever find an old photograph in a drawer, faded at the edges, slightly out of focus, take a moment before putting it away. That photograph was someone's last one taken the old way, whether they knew it or not. It carries a kind of patience and care that doesn't quite exist in the same way anymore. Maybe that's worth remembering the next time you reach for your phone to take another quick picture. Somewhere, in another life, someone waited 3 weeks just to see if that exact moment turned out the way they hoped. And when it did, it became something they treasured for the rest of their life.